this is Pallavi Mishra. Recently, 9 new judges have been appointed to the Supreme Court of India, and these appointments have been historic for a number of reasons. In this session, we are going to see some facts related to the recent appointment of judges in the Supreme Court, and also we'll see how are the judges appointed in the Supreme Court of India, what is collegium system, what is NJAC, National Judicial Appointment Commission, although NJAC has been declared unconstitutional now, but we'll go through it, and also we'll see the eligibility criteria and the tenure for the Supreme Court judges. In August 2021, our President, Mr. Ramnath Kovind, has appointed 9 new judges to the Supreme Court of India, and subsequently the Chief Justice of India, N.V. Ramanna, has administered oath to these 9 new judges in the Supreme Court. This has been historic for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's the first time when 9 Supreme Court judges have taken the oath together. Of these 9 judges, 3 were women judges: Justice B.V. Nagaratna, Justice Hema Kohli, and Justice Bela M. Trivedi. Another women judge, Justice Indra Banerjee, has already been working in that capacity as a Supreme Court judge. Now, including her, there are now 4 women judges in the Supreme Court of India, and this is the highest number of sitting women judges the apex court, Supreme Court, has ever seen. The previous high was 3 women judges in the Supreme Court of India, and they were the sitting judges from August 2018 to May 2020. It should also be noted that in the history of Supreme Court of India so far, that is in the last over 70 years, we have appointed or we have seen only 11 women judges, including the 3 recent appointments in the Supreme Court of India. The first women judge was appointed in 1989, and she was Justice M. Fatima Bibi. Another reason which makes the recent appointments historic is that very soon India would be getting its first ever women Chief Justice of India. So one of the newly appointed judges of the Supreme Court, Justice B.V. Nagaratna, is in line to become the Chief Justice of India in 2027 if all the appointments go as per the seniority basis. Although her tenure as the CJI would only be for 36 days, but India's long wait for the first woman Chief Justice of India would hopefully end soon. Also, the Supreme Court has now 33 judges, including the Chief Justice of India, which is against the total sanctioned strength of 34. Now let's look at the appointment of judges. The Chief Justice of India and the judges of the Supreme Court are appointed by the President of India under the Clause 2 of Article 124 of the Constitution. Now let's look at the appointment of the Chief Justice of India. The appointment to the office of CJI should be of the senior most judge of the Supreme Court considered fit to hold the office. The practice to appoint the senior most judge of the Supreme Court as the Chief Justice of India was followed from 1950 to 1973. And after that, there has been violation of this rule 2 times. First was in 1973 when the Chief Justice of India was appointed by superseding 3 senior judges, and then again in 1977 when CJI was appointed by superseding the then senior most judge of the Supreme Court. Now this discretion of the government was curtailed by the Supreme Court in 1993, in which the Supreme Court ruled that the senior most judge of the Supreme Court should alone be appointed to the office of the Chief Justice of India. Appointment of the judges. Just like the Chief Justice of the India, the judges of the Supreme Court are also appointed by the President of India. Now, as given under Article 124 of the Constitution, the judges are appointed by the President after consultation with the Chief Justice or other judges of Supreme Court and High Courts as he deems necessary. Now, this consultation with the Chief Justice is obligatory in case of appointment of judge other than the Chief Justice. Consultation has not been clearly defined in the Constitution, and there has been different interpretation of this word by the Supreme Court. In 1982 first judge case, the Supreme Court held that consultation does not means concurrence and it only means the exchange of ideas. Again, in the second judge case 1993, the Supreme Court reversed its earlier ruling and it said that the consultation means concurrence. That is, the advice of the CJI should be binding on the President of India in the matter of appointment of judges. Then in 1998, third judge case, the court said that the consultation process adopted by CJI requires consultation of plurality judges. That is, the CJI should consult a collegium of 4 senior most judges of Supreme Court before sending the recommendation to the Government of India. So what is this collegium system? It is a system where the Chief Justice of India and a forum of 4 senior most judges of the Supreme Court would recommend for the appointment and transfer of the judges. And please note here that even if the 2 judges out of the 4 gives a adverse opinion, the CJI should not send the recommendation to the Government of India. Also, please note here that the collegium system is not defined under the Indian Constitution, but it is a system which has evolved through the Supreme Court judgments. Over a period of time, the collegium system has been criticized too. The Supreme Court Bar Association has blamed the system for creating a nepotism culture, and therefore NJAC, National Judicial Appointment Commission, was evolved by the Government of India, although later it was declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. Nevertheless, we'll just go through NJAC also. The National Judicial Appointment Commission was formed by the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act, also known as NJAC Act. It was passed in 2014 and it came into force in 2015, under which National Judicial Appointment Commission was formed as a constitutional body, and it proposed to replace the collegium system of appointing judges. It was proposed that the National Judicial Appointment Commission would consist of 6 people: the Chief Justice of India, then the 2 senior most judges of the Supreme Court, the Law Minister, and 2 eminent persons. Now these 2 eminent persons would be nominated for a period of 3 years by a committee consisting of the Chief Justice of India, the Prime Minister, and the Leader of Opposition in the Lok Sabha. Also, these 2 eminent persons would not be eligible for re-nomination to NJAC. It was also proposed that the judiciary representatives in the NJAC, that is the Chief Justice of India and the 2 senior most judges, they can veto any name proposed for the appointment of judicial post if they do not approve of it. So once the proposal is vetoed, it cannot be revived. In 2015 only, the Supreme Court of India has quashed the National Judicial Appointments Commission Act in an unanimous verdict, declaring the 99th Amendment to the Constitution as unconstitutional. Now let's look at the qualifications of a person to be appointed as the judge of the Supreme Court of India. So basically there are 2 qualifications. The first is that he should be a citizen of India. Second, he should have been a judge of the High Court for 5 years, or he should have been an advocate of the High Court for 10 years, or he should be a distinguished jurist in the opinion of the President of India. Also, please note here that the Constitution has not prescribed any minimum age for the appointment as a judge of the Supreme Court. Oath or affirmation: a person appointed as the judge of the Supreme Court has to make and subscribe an oath or affirmation before the President or some person appointed by him for this purpose. Tenure of the judges of the Supreme Court of India. Although the Constitution has not fixed the tenure for the judge of the Supreme Court, however, it has made certain provisions. First is that he can hold his office until he attains the age of 65 years. That is, the retirement age for the judge of the Supreme Court is 65 years. Please note here that the retirement age for the judge of the High Court is 62 years. Second is that he can resign from his office by writing to the president, and third, he can be removed from his office by the president on the recommendation of the parliament, supported by a special majority of each house of the parliament, and on the grounds of proven misbehavior or incapacity. So this was all for this session. Have a very nice day. Thank you very much for watching, and please do not forget to like, subscribe and share.